Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Catherine Movito, and I will be your host for today's webinar titled, Are You Prepared for the Financial Impacts of a PCS? Joining me today is Danielle Nuxoll, Relationship Manager for AAFMAA Wealth Management and Trust. We'll conclude this webinar with a question and answer session at the end. So if you have any questions during the presentation, please enter it into your question bar on the screen. This monthly webinar series is brought to you by AAFMAA Wealth Management and Trust. Our vision is to ensure the financial security and independence of members of the Armed Forces community, active, retired, honorably discharged service members, and their families. We accomplish this by being the premier provider of financial planning, investment management, and trust services for all branches of the military. We're AAFMAA's trust company. AAFMAA stands for American Armed Forces Mutual Aid Association. AAFMAA, created in 1879, is the longest-standing not-for-profit association exclusively serving the military. AAFMAA focuses exclusively on the needs of military families and provides innovative, personalized, and lifestyle-appropriate financial services. The key point that sets AAFMAA Wealth Management and Trust apart from other companies is that we are a fiduciary. What that means is we have a legal obligation to act in your best interest and for your benefit. One important disclaimer before we begin this month's webinar. The information presented herein was compiled from sources believed to be reliable. This presentation is not for educational purposes, is only for educational purposes, and is furnished without responsibility for completeness or accuracy. Its general information is not specific investment, legal, or tax advice for any individual. Do not rely on this presentation alone to guide your financial planning decisions. Since each individual situation is unique, your needs for financial services will differ. For individual advice, please contact us directly. We produce this webinar series in-house with our own professional staff as a service to our members and to help them better understand the resources available to them. Now, I'm going to turn it over to Danielle to begin the presentation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Danielle Nuxoll, and I'm a Relationship Manager with AAFMAA Wealth Management and Trust, located at Fort Bragg in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Financial Impacts of a PCS. So today we'll discuss how to financially plan and save while addressing some common big decisions like rent or purchase and DITY or PPM to best prepare you as we enter the PCS season. Additionally, I will address the topics of moving a vehicle, tax expectations, and spouse employment, as all have impacts on your finances. But prior to jumping right into today's topic, I'd like to take a moment to introduce AAFMAA Wealth Management and Trust, who we are and what makes us different. Our vision is to ensure the financial security and independence of members of the Armed Forces community, active, retired, and honorably discharged service members and their families. We accomplish this as the premier provider of financial planning, investment management, and trust services for all branches of the military. We think of ourselves as a private office for members of the U.S. Armed Forces and their families as we provide our members with a dedicated team of professionals that continually provide personalized and professional service. We are a nonprofit that exclusively serves the military. This allows us to offer quality advice and services on a competitive basis. There are no brokers offering proprietary products or computer-based robo-advice. We work to establish a relationship with each of our clients to assess their risk tolerance and align their family's goals with the right solution, ensuring premium service. We are a fiduciary, and as such, will always put the best interest of the client first. Each client will have their own relationship manager, no 800 call center where you get bounced around from one advisor to the next. We are available 24/7 and will quarterback each specialty situation to the right person on our team of experts. Over 30,000 soldiers and their families will come through Fort Bragg alone during just this single PCS season. Many Armed Forces members are not provided information to what to expect for their first PCS and may miss out on knowing the pros and cons of big decisions that need to be made during the moving process. Big changes in life can generate strong emotions and can cloud your ability to make good financial decisions in the moment. Readiness is the #1 priority of the Army, and I believe you should work to apply the same knowledge to your personal life. Life will go on amongst your travels, so it is important to prepare for both the expected and unexpected events that can happen during this time. When you're anticipating a PCS in the near future, be engaged and start doing research on the posts you're headed towards. Join Facebook groups for support and ask questions about the school districts, where to live, and about activities you enjoy. This will help make the transition as smooth as possible. Many times the PCS can catch us by surprise, so try to stay proactive. Being a military spouse myself, we all know that moving can be a possibility at any time. One thing I've worked to create is a binder that collects account numbers for all open accounts to include insurance policies, utilities, and banking. I've also noted the phone number so I know exactly how to contact them when I need to cancel services or update my address. When PCSing unexpectedly, don't rush into big decisions. The Army reimburses up to 10 days of temporary lodging expenses, or TLE, which aren't paid on any day that you are also paid a PCS per diem for travel. So use these days in temporary lodging to make the right financial decisions for you and your family. And lastly, always seek professional advice. When looking to make financial decisions during big life changes, this is hopefully what I'll be able to provide some insight to today. Whether a PCS is expected or not, these are conversations that you can have today to make sure that you are financially prepared for the PCS. PACE is probably a concept you're very familiar with in the military. Primary, alternate, contingency, emergency. A lot of the times this is used for communication situations in the military, but why not apply this to your personal life? Talk about where you see life in 5 years, knowing that it's probably in a different location. For example, you may begin saving money or working to better your credit score to purchase a home, but as you progress, you might need to shift to alternate plans. Say your vehicle breaks down. Now you'll need to compensate for the purchase of a vehicle alongside your housing change. Focus on getting what you need and not what you want, which may lead to excessive spending. Ensure all legal documents are in place and verify that your contact information is correct. Automated bill pays will help to alleviate financial stress during your travels when you might not have easy access to your banking. And finally, consider doing a financial plan. This is something that AAFMAA Wealth Management and Trust can assist you with, and we'll discuss this in more detail later in the presentation. One of the most common decisions military families are faced with is to rent or to purchase. But first, they must address the option to live on or off post. Living on post definitely has its perks. Avoid a long commute and entering gates during high traffic times, but basic allowance for housing, or BAH, is essentially eliminated while living on post. So for the sake of today's presentation, we will assume the family has chosen to live off post and take advantage of BAH. So some things to consider. Will you plan to rent or sell the home when it comes time to relocate again? Definitely consider your overall time horizon and the market data. The standard 30-year mortgage loan begins to build equity at 7 years. You may be nearing retirement with your military career. If you're in a location you'd like to stay at, then it might be the right time to purchase. Whereas if you know you'll be separating from or retiring from the military and looking to relocate one last time, you may want to rent. Future family plans or even our fur babies may dictate this decision, but priorities will be different for each family individually. Regardless of family plans, be sure to assess nearby schools as this will impact both rental and resale value. The possibility of questions here are endless, and it might be worth consulting a military-friendly real estate agent when it comes to risk, population growth, and property taxes. Sites like GoMilly are a great place to resource when searching for agents and realtors that are military friendly. The key takeaway, however, is that buying a home is a very intense decision that needs to be considered very carefully with your family objectives and real estate market data in mind, especially since there are advantages to both renting and purchasing. When renting a property, your landlord or complex manager should handle any repairs or upkeep, which is one less thing on your to-do list. But be sure to check your lease to understand your responsibilities prior to signing. Typically, upfront costs are lower. However, if you qualify for the VA loan for purchasing, offers a zero down payment benefit. Most rentals require a security deposit and 2 months rent, first and last, but that's typically less than a down payment and closing cost on a conventional loan for a home. Though it depends on where you live, rent may be cheaper than a mortgage, but your basic allowance for housing will be the same. If your rent is less than your allowance, you can automatically save that money each month. Renting definitely offers greater flexibility when it's time to move again. You won't have to worry about selling or renting your house. Although renting may offer flexibility when it comes time to move, purchasing offers flexibility while you reside in the home. There are no landlords, so you have the freedom to make renovations and personalize your house to suit your tastes. However, do be aware of homeowners associations as applicable, rules and regulations prior to starting any home project. When owning a home, you could be eligible for certain tax breaks that allow you to deduct your mortgage interest and real estate taxes. So be sure to talk with your CPA. Using the BAH to build equity is probably the biggest advantage of purchasing a home versus renting. As your home value increases over the years, you have the potential to make money after you sell it. So another decision that families will need to make going into the PCS season is to complete a do-it-yourself move, or DITY, now called a personally procured move, PPM, or you can let the government handle all PCS affairs. If you choose not to do a DITY move, this means that the government will pay to pack and move you within maximum allowable weight limit based on rank and number of dependents. When you take care of the whole move yourself and absorb all costs up front, it is called a full DITY move. When you handle some of the move yourself and have a full service mover hired by the government handle the rest, that is called a partial DITY move. So some advantages of completing a DITY move would be extra cash. If you move on your own and can keep your costs under 95% of the government constrictive cost, then you get to keep the extra cash. You can use this extra cash to furnish your new home, or better yet, save it for the future. You're in control. A government bureaucracy isn't the best at dealing with the intricacies of moving. If you let them hire you a moving company, plan your move, and handle your belongings, you might end up fairly dissatisfied. It may be better to control the details yourself. If you handle the move on your own, it will happen on your timetable. This will provide flexibility, and you may be able to enjoy it to some extent. Although the advantages of a DITY move may be just that to some families, many may view the logistics of coordinating a move on their own as a huge disadvantage. Likewise, it is not uncommon to end up having to pay out of pocket for a DITY move if it is not carefully managed. You must weigh the moving truck without belongings and weigh it again with belongings at a certified weigh station. If the closest weigh station is a great distance out of the way, this can be a major inconvenience. There can be some advances made for moving expenses, but it is likely some will have to be paid out of pocket and you will have to wait for reimbursement. Note that anything you move in your vehicle can usually be considered a partial DIDI move. Be sure to have this authorized before you move and to collect the appropriate weigh scale tickets and receipts for any reimbursement on the back end. PCSing vehicles can be a whole different conversation. So let's take a moment to address some of those concerns. There are several options for moving vehicles to your next duty station. First, to clarify, CONUS refers to Continental United States, whereas OCONUS is anything outside of the continental United States, to include Alaska, Hawaii, and US territories. OCONUS is better known as overseas. Our discussion regarding DIDI PPM moves only applies to CONUS moves. If you're anticipating a OCONUS PCS, you typically will not receive permission to complete a DIDI or PPM move. In regards to PCSing your privately owned vehicle, or POV, one POV may be shipped at government expense for OCONUS moves. However, vehicles are not covered during CONUS moves, which generates many questions as to how best move your vehicle, especially if you have more than one. If you choose not to drive all of your vehicles to your next duty station, you can pay to ship them, but this cost is completely out of pocket. There are several companies who will ship vehicles throughout the continental US and will ship door to door, making it easier than the government's shipping, which goes to one of the select few shipping ports. For each vehicle that is driven separately to the next duty station, there's an amount per mile that is paid to the service member. That is called the monetary allowance in lieu of transportation, or MALT, and is approximately 18 cents per mile in 2019 per authorized vehicle, which is up to 2, as stated in the PCS orders. If you have 2 adults and 2 cars, you can each drive one. Caravanning like this can be really annoying, but it is definitely the simplest and usually cheapest option. Otherwise, get help. This option is one of my favorites because it shows just how helpful the military family can be. For everyone who wants to transport multiple vehicles to a new duty station, there is someone who is willing to drive. That person may be willing to drive your car to the same duty station in exchange for some room in the back seat or a small monetary contribution. Some families also have parents or siblings who just love road trips and would be willing to take the drive as well. When my husband and I PCSed for the first time, we chose to tow a vehicle. If you are transporting more than 2 cars or more cars than you have drivers for, towing may be an option, especially if you're looking at also renting a U-Haul or completing a DIDI move. You could get a trailer and problem solved. Though not reimbursed, this eliminates some stress and problems. Making multiple trips is probably the least practical, but it really depends on how far away the move is. I'd strongly consider this under a few circumstances, like moving with small children or moving within a 2-day trip. I'd send my spouse with 1 car, fly him back, and then have us all drive together in the second car. That way we're not driving 2 cars with small kids and adding to the stress level. Quick note before we move on, for motorcycles and dirt bikes, for CONUS moves, motorcycles and dirt bikes can be shipped as household goods, but do know that that weight is deducted from your total household goods weight. For OCONUS moves, one motorcycle can be transported as a POV, or ship your motorcycle and dirt bikes as household goods, also with the weight included in your total household goods weight. So transitioning now from decisions to things to know which may affect the decision you choose to make. A PCS will generate some changes for your taxes. So a good thing to note, mainly to make sure that you receive it prior to filing your taxes, is your W-2 for taxable reimbursements due to PCS. This will be separate from the W-2 for military pay and will be added to your gross income on the 1040 form. Per the new TCJA law that went into effect December 31st of 2017, itemized moving expenses are no longer deductible unless you move because of a permanent change of station. So in this case, you can deduct the reasonable unreimbursed expenses of moving you and the members of your household in the military armed forces. These may include, but are not limited to, cost of shipping your POV, cost of trailer or to tow your vehicle, moving household goods and personal effects, including expenses for hauling a trailer, packing, crating, in-transit storage, and insurance. However, you cannot deduct expenses for moving furniture or other goods you purchased while en route from your old home to your new home. Note that you can only include the cost of storing and insuring your household goods and personal effects within a period of 30 consecutive days after the day these goods and effects are moved from your former home and before they are delivered to your new home. You can deduct the expenses of traveling, including lodging, but not meals, from your old home to your new home, including car expenses and airfare. You can deduct as car expenses either your actual out-of-pocket expenses, such as gas and oil, or you can use the standard mileage rate of approximately 18 cents per mile. You can add parking fees and tolls to the amount claimed under either method, but you cannot deduct any expenses for meals. You also cannot deduct the cost of unnecessary side trips or lavish and extravagant lodging. So if you have expenses that exceed the amount that was reimbursed, you should complete Form 3903. Again, this information is purely to educate you and bring light to just a few of the tax expectations following a PCS. Please talk to your CPA for personalized advice. Spouse employment is an unfortunate but very realistic effect of PCSing, and it is a major financial impact on military families. Know your resources. If your spouse wants or needs to work, there are many agencies to support employment and provide very specific resources to military spouses. Recruit the Military provides specific job resources online for military spouses. Career One Stop is a one-stop shop for employment and is sponsored by employment agency divisions nationwide. MilitaryCareers.org provides military spouses the access to enter specific search-related content. I personally have used Military Spouse Employment Partnership, or MSEP, to assist during my military career changes as a result of multiple PCS moves. The DoD launched this program to expand career opportunities for military spouses. This partnership provides increased employment opportunities, focuses on maintaining employment for relocating spouses, career promotion opportunities for those who are excelling at their jobs, ensures pay equity, resume and interviewing tips, and a job search tool with hundreds of thousands of open positions. To take advantage of the resources with MSEP, start by creating a MySECO, or Spouse Education and Career Opportunities profile. One of my favorite benefits of creating this profile was that it qualified me for LinkedIn Premium. When you anticipate a PCS, be sure to update your resume and profiles on LinkedIn, as well as usajobs.gov. Note that if you're pursuing a GS or a general scheduled job, with the government, you will need to follow the federal resume formatting guidelines. These guidelines are very strict and are one of the first things recruiters look at to assess your qualification for the position in which you are applying. Many on-post employment coaches will be happy to assist in reformatting your resume to meet these guidelines. If you're looking to gain education, MySECO and MySEP can help with that too. There are many career fields that are applicable to almost all duty stations of the military. If you're interested in education, you can be a substitute teacher from post to post. Business, maybe a real estate agent or a relationship manager in the financial industry like me. Hospitality, hotel administration. Where there is military, there are always hotels for out-of-town visitors. It is common for job searching and career changes to take upwards of 90 days, whether you're military or not. So plan accordingly and be flexible. Don't get frustrated. An early start on a financial plan with AAFMAA Wealth Management and Trust may help to address different variables during the PCS process and how money spent in one place will affect the big picture. We offer two types of financial planning, hourly and comprehensive. Hourly financial planning is goal-based and can help address the concerns of purchasing or renting and how impactful spousal employment is to your overall finances. A comprehensive financial plan will offer a detailed model of your financial life so that you can really understand the path you're on and where it's taking you. Multiple meetings take place to review the path you're on, prepare for bumps in the road, and establish wargaming alternatives. Finally, we will provide a map to execute the plan and continually review your financial plan to benchmark your progress against the plan. Life changes, and so will the plan. So we will work to update this as necessary. So let's take a quick look at helping a client buying a house. If we look on the left side here, this is a dual income military family. Their gross income, $226,000 a year. They have $221,773 in expenses every year, and they have $38,000 in savings. They hope to retire at age 65 and maintain an income of $150,000 a year. They spend $40,000 on cars every 10 years, and this amount is adjusted by 1% per year over their lifetime. In the above example, they actually just bought new cars this year. So this couple is interested in buying a $250,000 house in 2020. How does this home purchase impact their financial situation now and in the future? If we look on the left, before they buy the house, their situation looks positive and they have a strong likelihood of meeting their retirement objectives. If we look on the right, that outlook changes from 87% down to 71%. So their financial picture has a negative impact. So how can we work together to address that? We can cut savings, we can buy less expensive cars, or we can wait to buy the house. This home purchase has the potential to cost this couple $1,378,000 over their lifetime. In this model, we run their current lifestyle, the gray bars versus the blue, versus changing on buying the house into 2025 and looking how the big picture changes. So how can we help this couple improve their situation? So in this example, we changed the home purchase to 2025. In 2025, we buy a $250,000 house, and it had no impact on the client's financial success. On the left, they have an 87% chance of success, and on the right, they have an 87% chance of success. So by walking clients through these situations, we can help them see the potential impacts decisions can make on their plan. We can also look at various solutions to try and prevent a negative situation from impacting their plan. So again, looking at the impact if we buy the house in 2025 versus 2020, you can see it still has a negative impact on their assets, but only $515,000 versus the $1.378 million previously showed. When we look at that impact on the overall financial situation, it stays similar over their lifetime. Clients have different preferences and needs. In this situation, we assume that delaying the purchase of the house was an option, but maybe it's not an option and there is an immediate need to buy the house. Then we talk with our clients to look at other alternative solutions until we have the right strategy. This is just one example of helping with a home purchase. We help clients to review various scenarios around their key planning objectives. That may be college savings, bear markets, life insurance, long-term care insurance, or early death situations. Clients design the right solutions. We just help illustrate how the decisions can impact their plan over time. Lastly, I want to end today's presentation with some fun tips and tricks. I've been through 2 PCS moves myself, one diddy and the other not. These are some tips I wish I had known going into those moves. So get yourself on the list ASAP. What list? Well, there's 2 important ones. The military housing list, if you choose to live on post, and then the child care list. Research what housing you qualify for and get on the wait list as soon as possible. As for childcare, even if you think or may be pregnant, put the little embryo on there. Childcare lists take forever. Liquids and chemicals don't get packed. Don't bother throwing a fit when you see all that wasted money. Instead, in the month or 2 before you leave, don't buy such large quantities of liquid or chemical items. See you later, Costco. Try buying sample sizes to avoid that waste. For ones with kiddos, leave a few toys out to entertain the little ones when the movers arrive. They'll also need some entertainment when you travel. If you can, call a babysitter to watch the kids while the movers are there. If you have pets, reserve some food and treats for your fur baby. Pack a first day box. This is the box you need on your first day at your new place. Include essentials like toilet paper, paper towels, shower curtain, and definitely more toys for the kids. All the essentials for night 1 in your new house will be right there, easy access. Only open 1 box at a time, and once you open a box, empty it completely and break down the box. Then you can move on to the next box. Otherwise, you'll just have a bunch of half-open boxes and nowhere to put things, and it gets messy and stressful really fast. Most importantly, stay positive. Moving stinks, I know. Focus on the good things, like maybe you're getting away from bad neighbors, you're moving into a better house, better area, or closer to home, etc. So stay positive. There are a lot of resources out there, so please reach out. You won't be the first or the last person to PCS with the military, and we are all here to help each other out. As a reminder, this presentation is educational. It is for general information only and is not specific investment, legal, or tax advice for any of you individually. Please do not rely on this presentation alone to guide your financial planning decisions. Since each individual situation is so unique, your needs for financial services will differ. For individual advice, please contact us directly. And please let me know if you have any questions. I appreciate you joining me for today's webinar. Again, my name is Danielle Nuxoll. My contact information is listed here. I hope it helped to provide some insights for your upcoming PCS.
Thank you so much, Danielle. That was an incredibly informative and comprehensive presentation. I feel like it is incredibly helpful for those, looking forward to a PCS. So we did have a few questions come in, so how about we go over some of those now?
Sounds good.
All right, the first question I'm seeing here is, what is the fee for AAFMAA Wealth Management and Trust Financial Plan?
The fee for a comprehensive financial plan is $2,100. Hourly is $250 per hour, capped at the $2,100. We provide financial planning services on a fee-only basis. There is no obligation or expectation that any of the plan recommendations be executed through AAFMAA or any of its affiliates, although you are free to do so as you wish.
Great. The next question I see here is, what information will I have to provide for a Wealth Management and Trust Financial Plan.
So we will ask you to provide us with information about your family, income and expenses, current assets and investments, income tax returns, current retirement schedules or projections, existing insurance and estate planning documents. We'll also discuss your personal and financial goals and time frame.
Great. So this one is about moving specifically. How do you avoid a bad landlord?
Yes, this is a common issue that we often hear about with military families, that one PCS move and nightmare landlord. First, if this has happened to you, don't feel bad. It has happened to a lot of people. Two, in order to try to avoid this situation, talk to some of the people in the unit you're assigned to join. See if you can reach any previous tenants or if anyone has heard of the landlord. Maybe people know of good landlords or experiences, and see if that company or person has any properties available. Be sure to take a lot of pictures of the house before you move in. If you notice anything, report it to the landlord right away. Don't ignore something until you move out. Also, we can't speak for the results or experiences you may have, but Automated Housing Referral Network, AAHRN, seems to have positive feedback from military families, so that might be another resource to check out.
All right, great. And we have one more for you. Any special considerations for PCSing overseas?
There are probably a few special considerations. One thing to think about is the transfer of your belongings. Depending on where you are located now, you may have a big space with a lot of furniture. Check on the typical space size for the overseas housing and rentals. There may be a big difference and you may not need to bring all your furniture with you. Also, keep a little PCS savings account available. You don't know what you might need overseas. You may be a little bit more disconnected from friends and resources. So you may need to rent a car, buy all new groceries, power adapters for electronics, other things. So it's good to have a little PCS emergency fund for the unexpected things during the move. And honestly, that's overseas or continental.
Great, thank you so much for that information. All right, we're going to go ahead and break here for now, but please don't hesitate to reach out to us for assistance whenever you need it. We do this every day for our military community, and it is our pleasure. This weekend, you will receive a follow-up email with instructions on how to access the recording of this presentation. And you can always register for future webinars and review past webinars at afma.com/webinars. If you found this information useful, we encourage you to please share it with your friends and family. Our membership grows stronger every year because you introduce those in the military community to AAFMAA. Thank you again for everyone joining us today. Remember, you can always reach out to Danielle directly at dnuxoll@afma.com or to AAFMAA Wealth Management and Trust, generally at wealthmanagement@afma.com. We look forward to our next opportunity to assist you.